Okay, so we've got the the Sigma BF full frame mirrorless camera. Oh my gosh, wow, I've been with Sony for a long time. So this has got to be one of the most polarizing cameras out there. Some people love it, some people hate it. A lot of people think this is the camera that Apple would make. They're wrong, and I think the reason why they think that is because it looks like an Apple device, especially with aluminum unibody design. Like, it kind of looks like a MacBook Pro, but it's not. They're wrong. They're all wrong. Marquez, you're wrong. But I do want to give you my honest thoughts on this camera because I think it's kind of cool. It's a really cool camera, definitely different to what other brands are doing. So huge shout out to Sigma for doing something different, but there's definitely some quirks I need to address. And so yeah, I'm just gonna give you an overview of this camera, all the pros, the cons, and what I personally think about the Sigma BF. Not sponsored, by the way. Sigma did not sponsor this video. They're like, you have 2 weeks to make a video on this camera and then send it back. All right, so first let's talk about the exterior of the camera. It has a smooth finish all around with a few contours, smooth corners, and this textured bit in the front, which kind of gives you a little bit of grip, kind of not really, but it does kind of help. On the top, there are two microphones to capture audio. You got your shutter/video record button. On the back, you have a 3-inch LCD screen that's touch capable, but really only for tap to focus when you're shooting and not at all when you're trying to navigate through the menu. There's also a smaller secondary screen which displays information like f-stop, shutter speed, ISO, really whatever setting that you are focusing on the camera, that information will be displayed on that secondary screen. You also have this thumb grip for better grip support. You got a big dial in the back which is very tactile. There's a center button which opens up some camera settings like your shoot mode, shutter speed, ISO, f-stop, color modes. You also have this option button here which opens up more settings in the camera, things like center mark, your grid, audio levels, even the camera system settings. Next to that is your playback button, and below that is your power button. On the left side of the camera is a USB-C port, which you can use to charge the camera, as well as offload your photos and videos to your computer. And in case you're wondering with the USB-C port, can it connect with a microphone? I can't really say because I haven't tested out all my microphones, but I did try to connect my DJI Mic Mini receiver to the USB-C port, and I wasn't able to get any audio at all. All right, so I've connected the DJI Mic Mini receiver to the Sigma BF USB-C port. I'm gonna tap the mic, and I don't know if you're gonna hear that. I guess the audio that you're hearing is from the camera itself with the built-in mics, but nothing on the DJI Mic Mini. Therefore, you cannot connect the DJI Mic Mini, or maybe any mic, on the Sigma BF, unfortunately. There is no SD card slot at all on this camera, just 230 gigs of internal storage. So with the internal storage, that'll give you about 2.5 hours of footage to film with. If you're filming in Ultra HD, that'll give you about 3.5 hours, just under. And if you are filming in Full HD, that'll give you just over 5 hours of footage to film with. On the other side of the camera is where you can attach a camera strap. On the front is a lens release button, which you can easily swap L-mount glass. And on the bottom is where you can find your battery slide switch release, as well as a 1/4-20 mount. So that's the outside. On the inside is a 24 megapixel sensor, which can take really nice high resolution photos. And if anything else in this video, the main takeaway is that the Sigma BF takes fantastic photos. Like these shots over here, they just look so good. And with the 13 different color modes that you can choose from, like you can choose any one of these color modes, even customize them, and have some really nice photos without even editing it in post. The Sigma BF can shoot DNGs and JPEGs. It can shoot up to 8 frames per second continuously, which is nice. And it has a hybrid contrast and phase detection autofocusing system, which does totally fine when it comes to photography, but when it comes to video, it's not really consistent. Speaking of video, the Sigma BF can film 6K video. It can record in H.264, H.265. It can film Ultra HD, Full HD up to 120 frames per second. And you can film in the standard profile using the 13 different color modes if you want to, or you can film in L-log for better dynamic range. Now, when you're shooting in L-log, you do have to start at ISO 1250. And so here I wanted to see the noise levels at different ISO ranges. On the left side is footage shot with the lens cap on, and on the right is footage shot without. This isn't anything too scientific at all, but at least it gives you an idea of how the camera performs at different ISO ranges. Personally, I actually didn't like shooting in L-log, mainly because I didn't like shooting at ISO 1250. I much preferred shooting at lower ISOs because I thought the footage looked cleaner. Again, not a scientific test, just my personal observation, so just take this with a grain of salt. And as far as stabilization goes, there's only electronic stabilization in the Sigma BF. Okay, so there is electronic stabilization. I don't know how well it is, but I'm hand-holding this camera, and I mean, I see the camera shaking for sure, but I can't really tell on the screen if it's if it's really shaky footage, but here it is. All right, so we're gonna test out the battery life of the Sigma BF. We're gonna take some photos and videos here, just use it casually, and I'm gonna put a timer on, and at the end of the shoot, we'll see how far the battery has drained. Ready? Here we go. 0, and let's do this. All right, here we go. All right. These are great, look at that. Now let's shoot some video. We're really testing out the autofocus. So I see that the camera is picking up on the eye.
Let me know when to start moving.
Sure. All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1, and action. That's it. Look down to the ground. And then look towards me. Okay, so we just finished a shoot. Very simple, very quick. 21 minutes later, and the battery went from 100% to 79%. So yeah, that's pretty telling of the battery performance of the Sigma BF. I recommend getting multiple batteries, for sure. So final thoughts on the Sigma BF. I mean, overall, as a camera, I think it's a great photography camera. Like, I really enjoyed taking photos with the Sigma BF, especially with this lens. As a video camera, maybe not so much. I mean, it's kind of hard to beat a Sony camera, to be honest. Like, the autofocus system is very inconsistent. You kind of have to just use this camera manually if you want to shoot video. I wouldn't compare this to a Sony FX3 or FX30 because it's not that type of camera. It's not a cinema camera by any means. Having that said, I don't know if this is a true hybrid mirrorless camera. Like, on paper, it is, because it can shoot photos and videos. It's just that it's more of a photography camera than a video camera. Would I get it myself? Probably not. I mean, I'm quite happy with my Sony cameras. Like, I have a whole ecosystem that I've set up and I'm quite happy with, so I don't know if I'd want to add this to my collection. But would I shoot with it if I had the option? Then yeah, of course. I would be happy shooting with this camera for travels and just for fun. And I think that's what this camera is designed for. It's more of it's a very niche product. So I think it's a camera that you kind of like to show off with because it looks so pretty. You know, kind of like having a watch. Like, you can get nice watches, but if you want to stand out, you kind of want to get a Rolex. Same philosophy here. And also, because it's so minimally designed, I think the philosophy of this camera is for you to slow down and take your time taking photos. And when I did that with this camera, like, I really did enjoy taking photos with the Sigma BF because it forced me to slow down. Video, it kind of frustrated me because I expected it to work like a Sony camera. But in terms of taking photos, I think the Sigma is a great photography camera. But again, would I get it for myself? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, this is a photography camera that happens to take 6K video. It's a great photography camera, but hybrid, maybe not so much.